own right. Sarawak DAP leaders, our miracle worker from Siang, Oleng, General, our vanguard, our DAP vanguard that we are seeing just now, who are going to break the Barisan National fixed deposit in Sarawak, Dr. John Bryan, Siang, Modi. We have others supporters here, Doan, former MP Jimmy Donald, and the great people of Putrajaya who have always been the bookworm for the DAP struggle for justice, for fair play, for democracy in Malaysia. Are you now ready for change? Are you ready? And I think tonight is significant because it is not only that you are ready for change, you are prepared to take one step further. One big step for Sarawak, one giant step for Malaysia. Because if we want to succeed in bringing about change, it is not only in our respective constituencies. We must be able to ensure that in the so-called fixed deposit states of the Barisan National, where they are so confident all these decades, Sarawak, Sabah, Johor, and even Pahang, we must ensure that the DAP and the Pakatan Rakyat candidates for parliamentary and state constituencies can win and defeat their Barisan National counterparts. We must break the fixed deposit states of the BN in Sarawak, in Sabah, in Johor, and in Pahang. And we are on the way to Putrajaya. That is what we want, isn't it? What we've been thinking of, what we did not dream for 50 years. Who would have thought in the last elections in 2008 that we can bring about a political tsunami? But we have done it. And I think it has the most empowering effect. It has told every Malaysian that we can bring about change. It is within our power to effect change not only in the various states, but most important of all in Putrajaya, at the federal level. And for Sarawak, it is going to be particularly significant. Since 48 years ago in 1963, where Sarawak together with Sabah formed Malaysia, Peninsula and Singapore. This will be the first election where the people of Sarawak and the people of Sabah will be able to determine who will be the federal leaders. They will be able to determine who will be the Prime Minister of Malaysia. And that goes not only for people of Sarawak, for every one of us, isn't it? Never before in the history of Malaysia elections have our vote counted to the extent of deciding who can be the Prime Minister. Correct? Never before. But this time, in the next elections, we'll be deciding who will be the Prime Minister of Malaysia. And let us unite and combine our efforts to ensure that we have a new parliamentary opposition leader, Dato Sri Najib Razak. Recently, he extended an apology to people of Malaysia, saying they're very sorry for what the mistakes to the Barisan National. Should we accept his apology? Should we accept his apology? Very categorical and final negative answer from you, but I think we should. I think we should. If it's humble, if it's sincere, if it's serious, I think we should. But do we know after nearly a month what is he apologizing for? Do we know? We don't know. He hasn't spelled out what is he apologizing for. And what we have seen in the last few days, we don't talk about the last few weeks, have shown how rotten Malaysia has become. Although there are some changes in Parliament, today they introduced a bill to fulfill the promise made by Najib in September last year that there will be a repeal of the Internal Security Act, 52 years. The Internal Security Act has been a draconian, reprehensible, most iniquitous piece of legislation where we see gross abuses of power. Where I was fortunate enough to be detained twice under the Internal Security Act. And in a short while, another victim of ISA will be coming, the Chief Minister of Penang, Lim Guan Eng, who will be joining us. And a few thousands of Malaysians, completely innocent of what the 1960 Internal Security Act was meant for, to fight communism, we were all made the victims. Now they are going to repeal, but there will be a new legislation, supporting legislation, which we have still to study, and there's going to be a new offence under the penal code. It will be an offence to do anything, any activity detrimental to parliamentary democracy in Malaysia. That would be a very serious, a new offence, a new fangled offence. Activity detrimental to parliamentary democracy in Malaysia. What is that? What animal is that? And what is the definition of activity detrimental to the parliamentary democracy in Malaysia? Activities designed to overthrow, to undermine, to overthrow, this is the definition from the bill, to overthrow or undermine parliamentary democracy by unconstitutional and violent and unconstitutional means. By the way, we're talking about fighting communism, fighting terrorism. Activities designed to overthrow parliamentary democracy by violent means. That is something that is acceptable. But we talk about to undermine parliamentary democracy by unconstitutional means. What does that imply? Well, one day, Bersih, for instance, taking part in Bersih activities be regarded as having committed an offence detrimental to parliamentary democracy because it undermines parliamentary democracy and it is unregistered and therefore unconstitutional. So it depends on the judge, depends on the Attorney General, and for the last few days, you know, we don't have an Attorney General, we get competency in defense. An Attorney General who is regarded as a criminal by former top police officers who should have been charged in court for a series of crimes, beginning with the fabrication of evidence in the case of Anwar Ibrahim, the black eye incident, leading to the mass bailout, Tajuddin Ramli, and recently we all Malaysians, we saw how the return of Mahatherism, where a court judgment for 580 million, there had to be a bailout. Why? What is the reason? And then there was also the incident whereby the former commercial crime director, Ramli Yusof, alleged that the Attorney General and the former IGP, Tan Sri Musa, they were part of conspiracy involving abuse of power, corrupt practices, and that's why we call for a judicial tribunal. A judicial tribunal to see whether the two top police and legal officers were actually criminals themselves. But these are things which probably will require a change in government before we can have a root and branch reform. And that's why after 54 years of independence, we need to bring about this change. And that's why we need to ensure that the fixed deposit states of Sabah, Sarawak, Johor, and Pahang can also deliver. These 4 states in total have about 97 parliamentary seats. In Sarawak, 31, in Sabah, 25, Labuan 31, Johor, 26, and in Pahang, 14. In the last elections, we won only 1 seat in Sarawak. Later on, we won Sibu in the by-election, 1 seat in Sabah, Kota Kinabalu, 1 seat in Johor, Pakri, and 2 seats in Pahang. If you can win at least 1/3 of these, in these 4 states, we don't talk about forming state governments in Sabah, in Johor, or in Pahang. In Sarawak, of course, we do not have state elections. If you can win 1/3 of these parliamentary seats, that means you will have 3 extra parliamentary seats, plus 82 that we won in 2008, we will have passed the majority mark. We are on our way to good president. And that is why it's important tonight that we reach out to help our Sarawak comrades to win, to make the breakthrough in Sarawak. To make the victory in Sarawak, we must do the same thing with our comrades and our friends in Sabah, in Johor, and in Sabah. And I want to thank the people of PJ. If you are ready for change, start. Are you ready for change? Then start from tonight. Have that meeting. Ask your friends, ask your neighbors, ask your relatives whether they are prepared for change. Yes. Convince them to do their part. Not only for us to win in our respective constituencies, but also to make breakthroughs into new areas, particularly like Sarawak. Cannot? And I'm sure with your support, we will be able to make the breakthrough. And what it is important and necessary if Malaysia is going to start anew. We are not going to continue to see corruption, abuse of power, cronyism, and injustice reign supreme, unchallenged. So tonight, let us make a commitment that we have to ensure, to secure the 4 states, the 4 fixed deposit states, starting with Sarawak, to effect a change in Putrajaya, where we get the new Prime Minister, Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim. Thank you very much.